September 19th, 1676. Virginia's capital stands silent under autumn heat. Beyond those wooden walls, armed farmers march toward destiny. Tonight, colonists will commit an act unthinkable, burning the symbol of English royal power in America. This is rebellion's crescendo. Jamestown has represented England's grip on this new world for 70 years. Now, faith in the crown crumbles like tobacco leaves, turning to ash. One man's fury ignites something far greater, a challenge to authority itself. Who truly rules Virginia tonight? I never intended to become a revolutionary. Nathaniel Bacon, wealthy planter, Cambridge educated, the governor's own cousin. Yet standing at the forest edge, musket loaded, I embody colonial rage. Every broken promise, every ignored petition burns within me like fever, consuming flesh. Picture Governor William Berkeley fleeing across the James River 3 days earlier. 70 years old, once beloved, abandoned by his militia. His wig sits askew, sweat staining velvet. Power evaporates when soldiers refuse orders. Authority exists only through consent, he discovers too late. The rebellion began with a simple demand: permission to fight Native Americans raiding frontier farms. Berkeley refused, protecting fur trading monopolies, comfortable in his mansion, while common farmers buried children. Bacon asked for defense. Berkeley offered words, taxes, and contempt. You must understand, this transcends Native American policy. Virginia's elite control land, trade, justice. They appoint themselves to the governor's council, set tax rates, grant exemptions. Common planters work until sunset, yet prosperity eludes them. The system protects privilege, not people. Bacon's army surrounds Jamestown now, 500 men, maybe more. Former indentured servants, small farmers, even enslaved people promise freedom. They share only frustration. Tonight answers one question: can colonists challenge the king's appointed governor and survive? History holds its breath. Last June, I rode to Berkeley's plantation at Green Spring with 70 armed followers. Grant me a commission to fight the Susquehannock, I demanded. His hand trembled. Age or fury, witnesses disagreed. You are a rebel, he declared. I smiled grimly, knowing truth. Berkeley tore open his silk shirt, exposing aged flesh. Shoot me before God and these witnesses, he cried dramatically. But Bacon sought legitimacy, not assassination. He wanted that commission, written authorization proving his expedition legal. Without it, merely an outlaw with guns. The governor arrested Bacon. Within days, supporters freed him. Berkeley called the first General Assembly in 15 years, desperate measures requiring desperate compromises. Bacon attended, was pardoned publicly, received his commission, then immediately raised a larger army. Trust had died permanently. Thomas Hansford stands beside Bacon, checking his powder horn. A second generation, Virginian owning 40 acres of stubborn clay. His grandfather survived the starving time. His father fought Powhatan warriors. Now he fights Virginia's governor. This, he thinks bitterly, is progress. I demanded to join council meetings, unprecedented for colonial women, and they let me speak. Sarah Drummond, my name. Let's dam up the James River with their bones, I told them, pointing toward Jamestown. My words shocked gentlemen. My rage rang true. Tonight, William leads 50 men. Inside Jamestown's palisade, only Berkeley's loyal supporters remain, perhaps 40 men. Richard Lawrence, the rebel intellectual, calculated those odds carefully. He once taught at William and Mary, debated philosophy over imported wine. Now he teaches farmers how to storm fortifications. Revolution transforms everyone. Bacon's messenger approaches the gates carrying white cloth. His throat feels dry as bone. "Governor Berkeley," he shouts. Colonel Bacon offers terms. Surrender peacefully. Leave Virginia forever. No bloodshed necessary. Silence answers him. The defenders already know Berkeley fled. They're buying time. You see, Jamestown dies even without rebellion. Brackish water, mosquito swarms, poor sanitation. The place breeds disease better than prosperity. The assembly already discussed moving the capital inland. Tonight simply accelerates inevitable change. Yet symbolism matters enormously. Fire purifies and destroys equally. I watch these preparations carefully. James, my name, enslaved but not defeated. Bacon promised freedom to any slave who fights. I helped build these fortifications years ago, know every weak point. My master sits safe in England, collecting tobacco profits. Tonight changes everything for me. The sun descends toward western forest. Shadows stretch across tobacco fields like dark fingers reaching toward the capital. Bacon removes his hat, wipes sweat away. Dysentery weakens him, the same fever-killing settlers since Jamestown's founding. He hides illness. Leaders cannot show vulnerability or doubt. William Drummond, former North Carolina governor, now Bacon's advisor, pulls a worn Bible from his coat. "Exodus," he reads quietly. "Let my people go." The irony strikes him. They invoke scripture while fighting Christian authority. But isn't Berkeley the Pharaoh? Doesn't God favor the oppressed? Bacon signals. Men light torches. Flames dance against twilight's purple canvas. He thinks of ancient Rome, how plebeians challenge patricians. History repeats endlessly. The powerful forget lessons learned in blood, assume authority equals rightness. Tonight they relearn old wisdom. Power requires legitimacy, not just force. The assault begins with fire arrows arcing over palisade walls like falling stars. The first lands in thatch roofing. The second ignites a wooden storehouse. The third strikes the church. Jamestown's defenders rush toward flames, abandoning defensive positions. Exactly as planned, chaos breeds opportunity. Rebels pour through unguarded gates. No pitched battle ensues. Berkeley's remaining loyalists flee toward boats moored at the river. Some dive into dark water, swimming frantically. Others row desperately toward the opposite shore. A few surrender immediately. The capital falls within minutes. Virginia's government evaporates. I enter the State House where Virginia's council once deliberated. Thomas Hansford, farmer and rebel. Tax records fill cabinets, documents detailing every bushel of tobacco, every pound sterling collected. I open a ledger, scanning figures. My farm's taxes exceed profitable plantations. Corruption, documented in careful handwriting, I toss it into spreading flames. The church burns brightest, its steeple collapsing inward with a groan like dying thunder. Sarah Drummond watches, remembering Sunday services where ministers preached obedience to authority. "Render unto Caesar," they intoned weakly. But what if Caesar steals everything? What if God demands resistance? Scripture contains rebellions too. Bacon stands before the governor's mansion, Berkeley's empty residence, symbol of royal power. He could occupy it, claim authority for himself. Instead, he orders it burned. "Let no trace remain," he declares. Power corrupts, he knows. He fights Berkeley's tyranny, not to replace it. Or so he tells himself tonight. I carry documents from burning buildings, land grants, court records, Berkeley's personal correspondence. James, watching history disappear into flames. Future Virginians will never know certain truths turning to ash tonight. Rebellion destroys continuity. New worlds require erasing old ones. I don't know whether that comforts or terrifies me. You might ask, did Bacon understand the implications? Challenging royal authority in Virginia challenged it everywhere. If colonists could defy governors, couldn't English citizens defy kings? Bacon's rebellion occurred one generation before England's glorious revolution. Ideas about consent and governance ripple through time unpredictably. Seeds scatter invisibly. Richard Lawrence finds Berkeley's wine cellar intact. Bottles worth fortunes sit undisturbed. He considers taking one, reconsiders, then breaks them methodically against stone walls. The aristocracy's pleasures mean nothing here. Imported luxuries while frontier families starve. That imbalance must end. Red wine flows like spilled blood across cobblestones. The fire illuminates the James River for miles. Ships anchored downstream see it. Captains wondering if Native Americans attack. Frontier farmers see the glow, understanding immediately. Berkeley loyalists hiding in swamps see it, comprehending their world ended. Jamestown burns. That fact transcends all interpretation or justification. William Drummond discovers Berkeley's official seal, the symbol authenticating government documents. Heavy silver, engraved with England's coat of arms. He turns it over in calloused hands. Should he keep it? Destroy. It? Send it back to England? Objects carry power through meaning alone. Symbols outlast men who wield them. Midnight arrives. Jamestown is ash and ember. The capital that survived Native American attacks, disease, starvation, and civil disagreements cannot survive its own citizens' fury. Bacon's men camp in surrounding fields, exhausted yet exhilarated. They've committed treason against their king. There's no returning from this precipice now. I collapse in my tent, fever overwhelming me. Nathaniel Bacon, 39 years old but feeling ancient tonight. Dysentery, the flux, has hollowed me from within. My physician suggests rest, but rest means surrendering momentum. Royal ships sail from England already, bringing soldiers to crush rebellion. Time runs out like sand through fingers. Thomas Hansford guards the camp perimeter, watching darkness beyond firelight. What happens next? They've destroyed royal authority's symbol, but not royal authority itself. Berkeley escaped. The governor will return with British regulars, professional soldiers transforming farmers into corpses efficiently. This victory might be their last celebration together. I cannot sleep. Sarah Drummond, walking among exhausted rebels, checking on wounded men, bringing water to sentries. Tomorrow they scatter, some to their farms, some to fight the Susquehannock as originally intended, some to simply disappear into frontier wilderness. Unity dissolves faster than it forms. Always. You must understand what's lost tonight beyond buildings. Colonial records documenting 70 years of Virginia history. Births, deaths, land transactions, court proceedings, all destroyed. Future historians will struggle reconstructing this period. Bacon's rebellion inadvertently erases its own context. We know only fragments, interpretations built on incomplete evidence and biased accounts. I claim a musket from the arsenal, loading it carefully. James, now armed. This weapon makes me equal to any white colonist, for this moment anyway. I know Bacon's promises might evaporate like morning dew once the rebellion ends. Still, I've tasted something unprecedented. Choice, autonomy, the possibility of freedom. Richard Lawrence pens a declaration by firelight, justifying tonight's actions. He writes for history, for England, for themselves. When government becomes destructive of these ends, he pauses. Those words sound familiar somehow, echo forward through time. Later generations will write similar phrases, invoking similar grievances. Revolution's language repeats itself through centuries. Berkeley watches Jamestown burn from across the river. The governor's face shows no emotion. Shock has numbed him. 70 years old, appointed by King Charles himself, and now this. Farmers and servants destroying his capital. His life's work turning to ash. He touches his sword uselessly. Authority lies broken tonight. Lady Frances Berkeley, the governor's wife, stands beside him. She's decades, younger, beautiful, connected to England's aristocracy. She watches her husband age before her eyes. "We'll rebuild," she whispers. But both know rebuilding means more than reconstructing buildings. Trust, legitimacy, the social contract itself requires repair. That takes generations. Dawn breaks over smoking ruins. I survey what remains, chimneys pointing skyward like broken fingers, stone foundations marking where structures stood. Nathaniel Bacon, staring at destruction I ordered. The oldest continuous English settlement in America, reduced to archaeological evidence. History will judge that choice. I shiver despite the heat rising. The rebels disperse as sunlight strengthens. Some ride north toward frontier settlements. Others head south, seeking defensible positions. A few simply return home, pretending they were elsewhere when Jamestown burned. Movements splinter easily. Unity requires constant effort, shared purpose, mutual trust. Reality corrodes idealism inevitably and completely. October arrives. Bacon dies in a hideout, his body hidden by loyal followers, preventing Berkeley's mutilation of the corpse. Without their charismatic leader, the rebellion collapses. Thomas Hansford is captured, becomes the first rebel hanged. William Drummond follows soon after. Berkeley executes 23 men total. Vengeance restores order brutally. I watch my husband hang, Sarah Drummond refusing to weep. Fury burns hotter than tears. Berkeley denies me William's body, leaves him swinging as a warning. I memorize the governor's face. Later, I testify before royal commissioners investigating Berkeley's brutality. My words help end his career. Small victory, dearly purchased. James disappears into the frontier. Did he gain freedom or merely exchange one bondage for another? Records don't say. Thousands of enslaved people participated in Bacon's rebellion, drawn by promises of liberty. Most returned to slavery afterward. Yet the memory persists. Rebellion remains possible. That memory sustains through generations. You see the pattern emerging? Bacon's rebellion wasn't ultimately about Native American policy. It revealed fault lines within colonial society. Rich versus poor, established versus frontier, English authority versus American autonomy. These tensions don't disappear with Bacon's death. They amplify through decades. They mature into revolution. Richard Lawrence escapes to Virginia's wilderness, possibly dying there. His writings survive, though, smuggled to sympathetic colonists. His ideas about natural rights, consent of the governed, and justified resistance circulate quietly. Ideas outlive their originators. Revolution plants seeds in unexpected soil. Some germinate decades later, transforming landscapes completely. Berkeley receives royal commissioners investigating the rebellion's causes in January. They question his harsh retribution, his monopolistic trading policies, his refusal protecting frontier settlers. The old fool has hanged more men than His Majesty hanged for the murder of his father, King Charles declares privately. Berkeley is recalled to England, humiliated. The governor sails from Virginia in April 1677. He dies before reaching England, reportedly of a broken heart. The man who governed Virginia for decades dies essentially in exile, reputation destroyed, life's work judged insufficient. Power and legacy prove fragile constructions. History remembers him primarily for this rebellion he couldn't prevent. Virginia's assembly rebuilds Jamestown, but the capital never fully recovers. 20 years later, the State House burns again, accidentally this time, and legislators move permanently to Middle Plantation, renamed Williamsburg. Bacon's fire marked symbolic death. The accidental fire finalizes it. Geography shifts with political reality. Places lose meaning through abandonment. But what did Bacon's rebellion accomplish? Frontiersmen gained no greater protection. Indentured servants' conditions didn't improve. The wealthy still controlled commerce and government. Yet something shifted fundamentally. The idea that colonists could challenge royal authority. That idea survived, spreading like embers, wind-scattered across drought-dry grass. Ideas burn hottest. Colonial elites learned lessons too. After Bacon's rebellion, Virginia's ruling class systematically divided poor whites from enslaved blacks. They offered poor whites slightly better conditions, minor privileges, the comfort of racial superiority. Divide potential allies. This strategy sustained slavery for another century, poisoned American culture permanently. Divide and conquer works. Consider this unexpected truth. Bacon's rebellion might have delayed American independence by making slavery sustainable. If poor whites and enslaved blacks maintained solidarity from 1676 forward, colonial society couldn't have functioned. Unity threatened power, so power destroyed unity methodically, deliberately, creating racial divisions that persist today. Thomas Jefferson later called Bacon's rebellion an early struggle for American independence. He romanticized it, ignored complexities, transformed Bacon into a proto-revolutionary hero. But Bacon fought for permission to exterminate Native Americans, not democratic principles. Jefferson's interpretation reveals more about his own era than Bacon's actual motivations or beliefs. Historians still debate Bacon's rebellion's significance. Was it class warfare, proto-nationalism, racist violence against Native Americans, personal vendetta between Bacon and Berkeley, accident of history, perhaps all simultaneously? Complex events resist simple explanations. Truth contains contradictions without resolving them neatly. History defies oversimplification always. We crave clarity. History rarely provides. The Jamestown ruins remain visible for centuries. Broken chimneys, crumbling foundations, artifacts emerging from river mud. During low tides, archaeologists excavate the site today, finding musket balls, pottery shards, burned timbers. Physical evidence of September 19th, 1676, when colonists chose rebellion over submission. Earth remembers what men forget. You stand in those ruins now, imagining flames illuminating that September night. The church steeple collapsing, rebels cheering, Berkeley fleeing. History feels distant, abstracted, safely contained in textbooks and museums. But the questions Bacon's rebellion raised, who governs, by what authority, for whose benefit, those questions remain contemporary, urgent, unanswered. Every society confronts these tensions eventually. The powerful want to maintain control. The powerless demand justice. Compromise proves difficult when interests fundamentally conflict. Bacon chose violence. Berkeley chose execution. Neither approach resolved underlying problems. Violence creates martyrs. Martyrs inspire future resistance. Resistance generates more violence. The cycle perpetuates endlessly through centuries. Consider the enslaved people who fought alongside Bacon. They glimpsed freedom briefly before returning to bondage. Did they regret participating, or did that glimpse sustain them through subsequent hardship? Hope can torture as easily as inspire. The memory of possible freedom might hurt worse than never imagining it. We cannot know their thoughts, or consider Thomas Hansford on the gallows. Did he regret burning Jamestown, or did he die believing the cause justified the cost? We cannot know. He left no final words recorded. History preserves actions, but rarely internal experiences. We project our beliefs onto historical figures, making them heroes or villains depending on our contemporary needs. 100 years after Bacon's rebellion, American colonists again defied royal authority. This time, they succeeded, creating an independent nation. Did Bacon's rebellion contribute to that eventual success, or merely anticipate it? Causation chains prove impossible to trace definitively. Every present emerges from countless pasts intersecting unpredictably. History flows like rivers. The unexpected ending? Bacon's rebellion failed completely in its immediate objectives, yet succeeded in ways Bacon never imagined. It demonstrated that colonists could challenge authority, even unsuccessfully. It revealed fractures in colonial society, eventually shattering British control. Failure sometimes plants victory's seeds without knowing it. Defeat teaches lessons victory never could. More unexpectedly, Bacon's rebellion showed power's limits. Berkeley possessed legal authority, royal appointment, military resources. Yet he couldn't prevent Jamestown's burning, couldn't preserve his reputation, couldn't maintain control without popular consent. Government requires more than force. It requires perceived legitimacy. That lesson transcends any single rebellion or era. Here's what you should remember. Authority isn't natural, permanent, or inevitable. It's constructed through daily choices: who obeys, who commands, why people accept specific hierarchies. When enough people withdraw consent simultaneously, authority collapses overnight. Jamestown burned because enough Virginians decided Berkeley's government no longer deserved their obedience or respect. That possibility terrifies every government. If subjects can unmake authority as easily as they make it, then power becomes perpetually provisional, constantly negotiated, never secure. Every ruler since Bacon's rebellion understands this threat. Every citizen understands this power. That mutual understanding defines political reality more than constitutions or laws ever could. September 19th, 1676, taught everyone watching, colonists, Native Americans, enslaved people, English officials, that American colonists would fight their own government under certain circumstances. That knowledge changed everything. It made independence conceivable where previously unthinkable. Ideas transform reality simply by existing publicly. Thoughts become actions. Actions become history. Walk through Jamestown's ruins today. Touch those burned bricks. Imagine firelight illuminating September darkness. Hear Bacon's men cheering, Berkeley fleeing, Sarah Drummond demanding justice. The past isn't dead. It echoes through every present moment, whispering uncomfortable truths about power, authority, and the human cost of resisting tyranny. History never sleeps.